Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my adapted from a beloved classic friend, Frank. How are you today?
I'm doing so well. You wouldn't know it, but I'm Mr. Darcy.
Are you?
Yeah.
You want to be Mr. Darcy?
No, but I've been adapted from him. I'm kind of loosely based on him.
He's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, I'm kind of loosely based on him.
Yeah. You know, it occurs to me that my intro is kind of misleading. Because I said a beloved classic.
Yeah.
But I should have said a beloved comic classic.
Oh, maybe you should have.
Because then people will assume that we're talking about, oh, you read Pride and Prejudice? Well, I just love this version of Pride and Prejudice.
I guess
you
that's
don't
true.
have to talk about it like this the whole time. Molly, dear, where are my slippers?
I'm the version of Mr. Darcy from the graphic novel adaptation.
I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there is one.
I'm sure there is.
I'm sure.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. Frank, we are drinking the same exact thing.
We are drinking my long beloved, my long lost Sam Adams Porch Rocker.
It's so good.
My favorite beer of the summer.
It's so good. It's tart and refreshing, Frank.
It really is.
It's so good. I really like this new label.
It's a very different look, but I like it.
Yeah, the dripping lemon.
The lemon, yes.
Yeah, it looks like the sun, but it's dripping.
Yes, it's a delicious beer with natural lemon flavor added, and it is just summer in a bottle to me. I love it.
You know, it doesn't. The last label, just thinking about it, didn't really scream like you should drink this. You know, it's delicious. It was kind of bland.
Yeah,
this screams like go to the beach, have a beer.
Yeah, it's much more summery. It was before. It was just Sam, like the usual. Sam with his mug.
Yeah.
But they've spruced it up, and it looks quite nice, and tastes just as good as it always did.
I love it so much. It's so good.
This stuff, at least up here in the Northeast, you can get it in 6-packs for like the month of April and maybe May, and then it's you can only get it in like combo packs of like flavor multiple.
Stock up now.
Yeah, so I try to get the 6-pack of it as soon as I see it because I love it so much. I don't want to just be drinking 3 of them at a time.
Yeah, agreed. I think I'll stock up for the summer. Just
Honestly,
wipe out the store.
Honestly, I should keep some
because they'll keep all summer.
They'll keep all summer, yeah. And I would like to almost kind of keep some in like on a winter day when I'm feeling like I miss summer. Just drink one.
Sure.
Anyway, so we want to do a little bit of a different thing today, and talk about some of our favorite comic book movies. But I know you're thinking so far like that's not different at all. You nerds, you're always talking about comic movies. You nerds.
We're geeks.
With beer.
With beer. Sometimes tea.
Sometimes even wine once in a while.
Sometimes wine or whiskey.
Mostly beer.
Sometimes gin. Mostly beer.
But
that was the original title of the show, but we had to cut it down.
It was too long.
It was a little too long.
Yeah.
Much like this intro. So, zing.
Ayo.
So, comic book films adapted from comic books that are not Marvel or DC.
Not Marvel, not DC. That's the twist.
Are you counting now? We have to clarify some things.
Set some ground rules.
Are we talking? So let's say Watchmen is a DC.
It's DC
book. Okay,
That's
so
DC.
it's off the table. Now
non-mainstream.
So does Vertigo count?
We could do Vertigo.
Sure,
we could do Vertigo. That's not super in the mainstream.
Okay,
so I would say Vertigo. You could do If you can think of any Wildstorm, go for it. If you could think of any,
No one's favorite is Wildstorm.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Boom, anything you can think of from any of those,
Okay.
is fine.
Sounds good.
Movies though, not TV.
Sure.
Movies.
Sounds good. Yeah. Just movies. Why don't you kick us off?
The very first thing. So this topic comes to us from friend of the show and sometimes guest host Damon. And the very first thing when he suggested this topic that came to my mind was Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim. That was one of the first ones that came to my mind as well.
Scott Pilgrim was the very first thing that came to my mind because it's Oni Press. You know, it's
Yes,
a
it is
small,
Oni Press. Mhm.
small publisher, but one of the most successful graphic novels of all time, and a hell of a fun movie.
Oh, it is the best. I don't think the third act is as strong as the rest of it because that's where the volume set wasn't finished yet.
Right.
It wasn't with the last couple wasn't finished yet. The last volume or the last two volumes weren't finished yet. So so they kind of like were told what the ending was going to be, but they kind of did their own thing, and it doesn't play as well.
I'm trying to remember by the time the movie was released, had book 7 come out?
I think so. Yeah.
I think we had read the ending, but when they were making the movie,
Right.
it wasn't released
Right.
yet.
Post-production is a long time on that
Right,
movie.
right.
So, but that's okay. That's okay. Because, I mean, like, a lot of it, like, Scott is a very different character in the movie
Yes,
than he is in the book. He's not as manic. Like,
Yeah.
he's like a quiet manic, I guess. I mean, he's certainly manic in both, but, like,
Yeah.
he, like, shouts a lot and stuff.
in the book.
In the book,
Yeah.
and Michael Cera does not.
Not at all.
No, he's kind of, like, placid almost. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you like his Scott Pilgrim?
I mean, it's Michael Cera. It's just Michael Cera.
Yeah.
Like, I love Arrested Development. I love him as George Michael in Arrested Development.
Sure.
He was very George Michael in this movie.
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
So it was fine. It wasn't really the Scott Pilgrim that you read, at least to me. But I thought he did a fine job with it. I thought he did a good job. It was a little bit of a different take, but that's okay.
It's true. I think the other characters are basically the ones that you read in Knives and Kim and, Young Neil and whatever. I think they're pretty much Wallace. I think they're pretty much all the same. Who's your favorite character?
Well, Scott, but I know the rule is always like
The rule
it can't be.
though it's not the main character because obviously it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I know.
Man. Probably is Wallace is the roommate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wallace is
pretty great.
I love Wallace so much.
So funny.
Yeah. I just he. Guess who's drunk? I guess Wallace. Yeah.
He's always funny.
I needed you to break up with your fake high school girlfriend. But it's
hard.
Double standard. I love all of it. I love Edgar Wright, and so I think that plays a huge part into why that movie works so well. It's so cleverly edited together.
Yes.
It's got a great pace. The cinematography is gorgeous.
He was the best possible choice to direct
I think
that
so.
film,
I think so. I believe that Michael Cera is actually fighting those people and like beating people up, which is impressive considering it's Michael Cera.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only movie where he could convincingly be a hero.
Who's your favorite Evil X?
Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh's your favorite?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because you'll be dust by Monday.
Yeah.
Because the cleaning is Friday now.
It's vegan
and she has
superpowers.
weekends off. So on Monday, she dusts. She dusts.
Oh, man. We have to do...
It's a great cameo, Thomas Jane.
It is a great cameo.
Yeah.
We have to do an episode on the Cornetto trilogy.
Oh, yes.
We really
I would
do.
love to do that.
Yeah.
I just watched Hot Fuzz not too long ago.
Did you really?
Actually, yeah.
I just watched the whole trilogy. I binged it in one day.
Oh, my goodness.
A few months ago.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. It was one of the rare days where I actually have time to watch a movie, and I was like, I'm going to...
We should try to plan that around the release of Baby Driver, Edgar Wright's new movie.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
That's coming this summer.
Yeah. Coming this summer.
My favorite is oh my God, now I can't remember his name because we were talking about Edgar Wright and Baby Driver and now it's all stuff. What's Chris Evans? What's his name?
The character's name?
Yeah.
Oh man. I'll use my one lookup on this.
No, it's me. It's me. I can look it up. But I just have Chris Evans stuck in my head.
Johnny Storm.
It's not Johnny Storm.
You sure?
Yeah.
It might be. He might be the Human Torch in Scott Pilgrim.
It's not Johnny Storm.
It might be.
I promise you it's not. Lucas Lee.
Lucas Lee is my favorite. I love when he's like, "Hey, homies, I want to get some coffee. You want anything?" And then he gets a text message like, "That's actually hilarious." Oh, so good.
Can you do a thingy down the thingy? Yeah. You're just trying to get me going. Like, there are girls watching. Like, he's so good. I love it. It's pre-Captain America.
Yes, it is. Yeah. That's right, it is. Not by much, only by a year or two, but
yeah, very close.
Very close.
Very,
wow.
very close.
Yeah.
But he's my favorite.
So good.
I'm nothing without my stunt team. Like, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. The first sound you hear is me hanging up the phone. The second sound you hear is me pulling the trigger. so good.
He's completely ridiculous.
He is. All the evil exes. The whole movie is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Do you know how long it take me to send those emails? Like 2 hours. 2 hours. That's one of my favorite lines of the movie. Jeez. I don't know why. It's great.
It's so great.
It's great. All right, so that's Scott Pilgrim.
That's a good one. It's a solid one.
It is a solid one.
You give me a pick. What's one of yours?
Okay, this has been in my brain for whatever reason for the past couple of weeks, and I haven't had the opportunity to rewatch it at all. But when I was younger, and I haven't seen it in a long time, so we're going on memory. I love Sin City.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Dark Horse.
Okay, yeah.
Frank
Dark
Miller.
Horse, yeah.
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not seen. I've never seen the second one.
Okay,
so
yeah,
I can't claim that. But when that came out, I was in high school, and I remember everybody being blown away by it. Just like this movie that was panel for panel comic book, boom, boom, boom. Because that was actually a bit of a heyday kind of. It was like a perfect storm of comic book movies, like independent comic book movies, because like between 2004 and 2006, like you got Hellboy, which is you got 300, you got Sin City. Like all of a sudden you're seeing like all these independent comic films come out, and Sin City and 300 together, you're talking like it's the book on the screen. Yeah, it's amazing, even if it like maybe doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
But again, I haven't seen it in a long time. You've seen Sin City, right?
Not a long time.
Oh, but you have,
long time.
Yeah, I like noir stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And
me
so
too.
like, yeah.
I remember not enjoying it that much at the time. I was a little. I hadn't come around to an appreciation of Frank Miller yet. Arguably, I'm still working on that.
Some people have fallen out of an appreciation.
Yeah,
of Frank
that's
Miller.
true.
It depends on the era.
Yeah,
Frank Miller. I can't remember what I was listening to or watching, but they were actually talking about Mark Millar.
Mm-hmm.
But they said like a Mark Millar book, and Frank Miller, and sometimes later Frank Miller, I think, works a lot this way, where it's like it's handed to you. You've never read a comic book before, and it's handed to you, and you go, "Oh my, what have I been missing? This is amazing." And then you read something else that's probably a lot better, and then you're like, "Oh, I see."
So they're both very good at writing to non-comic book audiences.
I think so.
But then once you're used to the medium and you go back and read them
I think
again,
there are better masters of the genre. That being said, I think Frank Miller is a master of the genre. His work on Daredevil cannot be underappreciated. Dark Knight Returns,
sure.
Even Sin City, its use of perspective and contrast and everything is incredible, and it's not really like anything else that's out there. And so I'm not like Frank Miller is more of a master than Mark Millar is by any stretch of it. But I don't think he's for everybody. But you can say like Charles Dickens or Mark Twain is a master of literature, but he also was not for everybody.
Right. Yeah, that's valid. That's valid. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And you might read Mark Twain and be like, "What? I didn't know that like books from 100 years ago could be this good." And then you go off and read something else and you read Mark Twain again, and maybe you're like, "Oh, actually, I don't like him as much as I thought I did." Like that could happen with him as much as it could happen with any of these other men.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't make him less of a master.
No.
Just might be that once you get familiar with a genre, you don't, your taste changes a little bit.
Right. People, I think, kind of fluff that together. So like, oh, you read comics, period.
Right.
That's
right.
like, oh, you watch movies.
Right. Right.
Or,
Exactly. Everyone. Yeah.
Or, oh, you like TV.
There's a lot under that.
There's a lot to what you just said.
Well, but people always assume that it means superhero comics.
Right.
Because that's what the genre is
Well, it's what it was
taken
really,
over.
Right.
by.
Sure. But, and it's true. That is my favorite.
Mine too.
That is my favorite of the genre. But that's not all I read, and that's not all I appreciate. You know, like I love like some people love police procedurals,
Right.
But that's not all they watch all the time.
Right.
You know, they also enjoy Home and Garden.
Sure.
And, you know, Arthur or whatever. So, you know, you can have varying tastes in your, you know, even like books like, oh, you read mystery novels.
Sure.
Yes, that is the only thing that I read.
Right.
You're right, mystery novels. I read nothing
And
but.
even within mystery novels, it's like it could be Agatha Christie, or it could be James Patterson, or it could be, you know, like it could be Dan Brown,
right?
Like
You might
Daniel Suarez,
right?
Like it could be all
you might love Agatha Christie and hate Dan Brown or James
Right.
Patterson or whatever. Which call? Yeah, I guess it's not really mystery in the sense, but
who Patterson? Brown.
Brown. It's like it is a mystery, but I don't know if you classify
No,
it
like a
as
murder
a
mystery, like
yeah.
Agatha Christie. Yeah.
But that's my point. Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden
Right,
you're
right,
like
there we go.
oh,
There's
what do you do? So so which is why we're talking about this now.
Exactly.
So yeah, so that's Sin City. For me, I really should see the second one.
Yeah, I should rewatch the first one. It's been so long.
It's just such a weird
I wonder if I'd
combination
like
of
it more
crazy
now.
things with like samurai
Yeah.
swords and the mob and like plastic surgery and face changes, and it's got a wicked cast too.
Yeah.
The late great Powers Booth.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if I would
The late
appreciate it
great
more
Michael
now.
Clark Duncan.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah, I miss him. It was a big loss. I want to put out there, you know, we talked about Vertigo. I think V for Vendetta.
Yeah, that's a perfect storm. Yeah, of that time. V for Vendetta is so I like it more than the book. It's
I
actually
like it a lot more than the book.
The book is so boring.
The book is really boring.
It's really boring.
It is, and it's very different than the book. In fact, one could argue they did a bad job adapting the book.
Sure did.
As much as I like it better than the book,
Didn't get the point. Almost didn't get the point.
Did not get the point.
It's actually almost like the Watchmen adaptation, where it's like the whole
Kinda.
point is that they're kind of just regular people
Yeah.
in these costumes, but then you watch the movie and they're doing these fights and like surviving like their heads being smashed into
Yeah.
concrete or granite, whatever,
It's like
and they like shake it off. I'm like, that actually wasn't the point.
No.
As fun as it is to watch
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
screen,
yeah, absolutely.
it wasn't the point.
Yeah, they took liberties to make it more interesting as a movie.
Yeah.
And I think in Watchmen, they maybe didn't do it as much of a service as they thought they were doing.
Uh-huh.
Not that it's a bad movie, but they just didn't do as they didn't improve upon it. I still think Watchmen, the book, is better than the film.
Yep.
But in this case, for V for Vendetta, I think
the film is better. I
made
think
it
they
better.
improved the source material.
Maybe they made it more accessible, and that's why
Yeah.
Alan Moore doesn't like it. But
Well, V for Vendetta is very much a response to Thatcher's England.
Right.
It is an
Right.
extreme response to Thatcher's England.
Yes.
And so I think when you, in the book, if you're missing that context or understanding that reality of that reality, living in it or not, maybe you don't get the whole point.
Sure.
Whereas the film breaks it down enough where you can kind of apply it to almost any modern day political situation, and it still kind of rings true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's true. I think the movie was made at a time that we could relate to, and it felt more like the world we knew. And sort of you could see. I'm going to put it this way: you could see how the world we knew in 2005 or whatever year it was the movie came out. You could feel how that would turn into the world in the movie. You could see oh my God, this could happen to our world if we weren't careful.
Right, and you watch it now, and you're like, it can still feel like that. Yeah,
right, because it's just refreshed for a modern time.
Yeah.
But it also did sort of simplify things, where he was being very highbrow and very these very lofty concepts, and they kind of simplified things down and cut out stories pieces of the story that didn't need to be there.
The film is actually still a little hard to follow the first time, even, and it's not like
I guess
not
I could
like,
see that.
but you got to pay attention.
Yes,
Otherwise,
you do.
you miss bits of the conspiracy.
Oh, sure,
You know what? I think that's what I mean. So, it breaks it down a lot, but enough that you still have to pay attention to it. You can't go, oh, look, he's doing a thing. What I think is really interesting is that, like Anonymous has taken the Guy Fawkes mask and like, turned it for themselves, and so that V for Vendetta, even if the film is not in the kind of in the zeitgeist anymore,
that's still around.
The mask even if you don't know where it originally comes from.
That's right.
Which I think is very interesting.
It is, yeah, and it really, I mean, it started with that movie, right? Like that they weren't using that before the movie.
No, they weren't. It started with the movie.
I really, sometimes I'm like, am I remembering that wrong? But like, they weren't really a thing until a little after that time,
Yeah.
Man, that movie, I have such great memories of the first time seeing that movie with our buddy Andrew and some other friends when we were in high school at the time. And we would sort of like volunteer at this like orientation for incoming freshmen every year.
Sure.
And we were the cool kids. We were in the Glee Club. And we were
super cool.
We were super cool. And we were performing for these kids. Like there was like sort of a little show of all the different performing arts types of people would get together and put on a little show in the auditorium for the freshmen, the incoming freshmen, of like, oh, join our club, like join the drama club or join the Glee Club or join whatever. And so we did some stuff for them. We would sing a song, whatever. In between shows, between sessions, we would use the projector, the giant screen in the auditorium. It was huge. And we had like a 2-hour break between shows, and we watched V for Vendetta in that theater in our auditorium on a giant screen. And it was such a cool experience.
That's very cool.
So cool. And then
a rated R movie.
And a rated R movie. That's right. But we were 17 by then, so it was fine.
Yeah.
And we would also play like Mario Kart and stuff on that giant screen, which was super fun.
That's super fun.
Someone brought their GameCube.
No wonder you loved high school.
Yeah. Well, this was like extracurriculars.
I know, but still.
Yeah, I know. It was a good time. I had a fun time in high school.
These are the memories that stay.
Yeah, man. Anyway, that's the first time I saw that movie. It was on a big screen, but not at a legit theater.
I mentioned it in passing, but 300, a movie that I think is very. I think the book is very. I think the book and the film are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
To be honest, like Zack Snyder really, really stuck to that material.
Yeah.
And he kind of expanded it a tiny bit.
I've never read it. I've never read the source material.
It's pretty much the same thing. He did the only thing that he expanded the political side of it. And so all the stuff back with like the politicians in Sparta and Queen, what's her, Gora? I can't remember.
If I'm being perfectly honest,
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But she, that whole side is very much expanded.
Yep.
It's not in the book, but otherwise it's good.
I remember that movie being such a cultural phenomenon when it came out.
Huge.
I mean,
huge.
It's one of those things that I almost stop and I'm like, did that really happen? Was it really that big as I remember it, or am I making that up? Because it was everywhere, and it was like the movie that everyone had to see. Everyone was like, "You've got to see this movie."
I used my one look up. It's Gorgo. I was so close.
Gorgo. Okay.
I was so close.
Yeah, I
Gore is the four-armed guy from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, got it. Yeah, but I just remember it being such a zeitgeisty thing where it was, this is Sparta was, and it still is. Like you still hear that joke being made sometimes.
I think we made it on last week's podcast.
We probably did.
I definitely did, because I asked you about SETI Alpha 5 or
this is SETI Alpha 5.
Thanks so much.
You're my shining star 2D2.
Gets me through the day. Jokes. 300.
Yes.
I love the story within a story aspect of it, because the whole people miss this point. So it's like, oh, the Spartans didn't really battle monsters. They just battled, regular people, the Persians.
Shut up, nerd.
But the whole point is that the Spartans are pumping themselves up for the battle with the Persians by telling the story of 300. So it's a campfire story. So of course it's like, and they were 12 feet tall, and there were this many rhinoceros, and it's a meta story. It's historiographic metafiction, if you will, Frank. Let me throw some words out there for you.
Word salad.
But it's story within a story involving history that is real but not real. Like we turn it into fake history and whatever else. It's wonderful, and that's why I like it. So that's why I like it so much, just from storytelling devices. Your turn.
Well, starting to run dry for me now, because I'm sort of out of ones that I really like, and now I'm just sort of down to ones that and that movie also exists.
I've got
The Spirit also exists. Terrible.
Yeah,
movie.
terrible.
Terrible. Movie. Based on a character that I like, but
Yeah.
terrible movie.
I've got 3.
All right, hit me.
2, I guess 2 in order. The Hellboy 1 and 2.
Okay, Hellboy. Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro. It's not your style.
No,
it's fantasy.
It's not, yeah, but it's, Ron Perlman does a good job.
He does. I'm very excited about the reboot as
I know,
well.
yeah.
I'm very excited. They actually Dark Horse just released Hellboy whiskey, actually.
Oh, nice.
Cinnamon whiskey.
That's cool.
I saw it today. So there's Hellboy, but you're not a fan, so we can't really talk about it.
I've seen them.
You've seen them. That's fine. But it's not your thing.
Not my thing.
But I mean, it's like Nazis and magic, and like that's like you throw a Nazi in a movie, and I'm probably gonna go see it. They're the classic bad guy. You just know what they're about, and you got to appreciate that. Yeah,
that's true. That's why Indiana Jones. It's one of the reasons why Indiana Jones works so well, right?
Right, and why 4 doesn't work as well because you're like, well, communists is fine. I get it, what you're doing, but they're not Nazis.
Right. That's true. That's more of James Bond's thing.
Yeah,
commies.
So, Hellboy 1 and 2. I think I like the second one a little more than the first one.
Why is that?
I think it kind of opens up the world a bit, and a lot of it is just watching like makeup and puppetry mastery.
Yeah.
Like some of it is just unbelievable. It's like so good.
Sure.
I love Guillermo. I love Guillermo del Toro.
So good. He does an amazing cinematic feats of
he does.
Cinema.
He does. I've got 2 paired together and then one last one.
Okay.
Dredd.
Yes.
And Judge Dredd.
Yes.
The Stallone version. Have you seen either?
I am the law.
That's the one.
I've not seen them actually.
No, really?
Not seen them.
Oh.
I'm very culturally aware of I am the law.
I am the law.
But I did not see the Stallone. I did not see the Carl Urban reboot.
Okay, so the Stallone one is not that good. Like, I'll put it at that. However, it does have a great cast. It's got Stallone.
Right.
It's got Diane Lane.
Oh.
It's got Armand Assante.
Armand Assante?
I know. And it's got guy who plays chess with the devil. And he's in The Force Awakens. And as the guy at the beginning.
Max von Sydow.
Yeah, thank you, Max von Sydow. Yeah.
Plays chess with the devil in The Seventh Seal.
Yes, that's the one.
Got
yes,
it.
thank you very much. It's like it looks like a Blade Runner knockoff.
Oh boy!
But I think I saw it before.
And we know how much you love Blade Runner.
Well, I saw. It's got Rob Schneider in it.
Oh man!
Eat recycled food. It's good for the environment and okay for you. It's also actually Judge Dredd, 2000 AD, a British UK imprint comic. It's also a response to Thatcher's England.
Oh, okay.
The book is post-apocalyptic future. All of humankind live in these things called megacities.
Yes.
And so they're like Judge Dredd. The judges are police. Judge, jury, and executioner.
Yes,
the police and the judge and the executioner. Megacity 1 is from Massachusetts or Maine all the way down to DC.
Mm-hmm.
That's Megacity 1, and so there's a few, and there's like different ones all over the world.
Sure.
So it's like it's one city, but it's like it's not just a city.
Right. They're basically countries.
Right. Exactly. And so, as I said, also a response to Thatcher's England, but it takes place in America. And Dredd never takes off his helmet. And in the comic, he ages in real time. So he started in the 80s. And so now it's 2017. He's that many years older.
Okay, yeah.
So let's say he started in 87, whatever year Judge Dredd came out. It's 30 years later. If he started in his 20s, he's now in his 50s in the comics.
Yeah, sure.
It's amazing. No comic does that.
So that's really interesting. So they've been doing like in the actual run of the comic over time. They've aged him. He ages in real time. That's really cool.
Yep.
No sliding.
No
scale.
No sliding. Everything's happened, and he ages up.
That's cool.
Very cool. So I have a soft spot because of childhood for Judge Dredd. The movie Dredd with Carl Urban is a fantastic science fiction.
Okay,
movie.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's on Netflix. I highly, Highly recommend you watch it. On your own. It's violent. No question.
I don't have small kids.
Domhnall Gleeson is in it.
Ooh.
Lena Headey is in it.
Ooh.
Carl Urban plays Dredd.
I knew that.
Yeah. It's the movie's rather small in its scale. There's basically something that without spoiling anything, there's something that happens in a skyscraper in Mega City 1. Dredd goes to inspect, gets stuck in this because the whole thing takes place in the building, and he just has to basically fight his way up to the top.
Wow.
To Lena Headey, who's the boss, who's the
video game.
It's like a video game. Or it's like the Raid or something like that, you know. But it's really clever. It's fast paced. It's not Blade Runner-y science fiction. It's like almost believable future science, you know, just a little bit, you know. And he never takes off his helmet the whole time. He's got a great scowl.
Nice.
He does have his "I am the law." He does say "I am the law," but it's not "I am the law."
Yeah,
you know, it's real. It's real. I want to watch it right now.
Does Carl Urban do his American accent?
He does his American accent. Yeah, he does a good one too.
Jim, I am the law.
Yeah, he's dead, Jim. Because I killed him.
Yeah,
because I'm Judge Dredd. Because I am the law. I have a huge soft spot for that movie, for both those movies.
What was your first exposure to the franchise?
Dredd, I think I saw on TV.
Okay.
Dredd, I think I saw on TV, and I've read a bunch of the stuff from 2000 AD.
Okay.
People who like people you know, like Brian Boland and Alan Moore's written a bunch.
Oh, nice.
And like people like real like that 80s 90s like
those are like hardcore.
They all either got their start in 2000 AD or you know became big and started there. A lot of them are in black and white.
Cool.
That's where I got my start. With Dredd, I think you would like it actually a lot. So I mean, if you want to watch a fun like '90s movie, you know, with Diane Lane, go for the original.
Go for the original.
But honestly, I'd watch just Dredd, which they're doing a TV show now.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that actually.
Which I'm so excited about because police procedure. Like I don't really like police procedurals, but I will watch a Judge Dredd police procedural. It's real good. It's real fun.
Nice.
Okay, so two more real fast. Do you ever see Snowpiercer?
Yes, love Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Loved Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
I forgot that was a graphic novel.
Also doing a television show.
Oh, why?
With Daveed Diggs. Yep.
Why?
I don't know.
I love Daveed Diggs.
Yeah, I think it's TNT.
That should stay a movie. That should not be. That should be a mini-series at best. Should not be a series.
Precisely 64% of you will die. Tilda Swinton, great in that movie.
Fantastic.
So good.
Chris Evans again
terrific
fantastic.
in that movie. The Toby Kebbell is in that movie? No,
I don't know who that is.
Who played the Thing in the new Fantastic Four? That guy.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is.
That guy. He's in Turn on AMC. Can't remember.
Okay.
Can't remember his name. Yeah. Oh, great movie. It's a movie that's unsettling. You know, people. You know, the world is post-apocalyptic crap, so people are on a train that travels around the world, and that's how it maintains its heat.
Yep.
Poor people are on the front. Poor people are in the back. Rich people are in the front. Poor people do an uprising, try to make their way to the front. What a great movie!
Such a good,
very unsettling.
Very unsettling, but very, very
so good. Oh, Octavia Spencer is in that movie.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Have you read the original?
No.
Have you read the book? I haven't either. It's a French graphic novel, I believe. I have not read it. I really should. My last one, Road to Perdition.
Yes, that was one I didn't realize was a graphic novel for many years.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
No.
It's a Sam Mendes film, Tom Hanks, Daniel Craig.
Yep.
Paul Newman, sans salad dressing.
That is true.
Karen Hines, Tyler Hoechlin, Superman.
Hey, there you go.
Superman on Supergirl. Yeah, great film. Jude Law.
Yeah, of course.
Stanley Tucci. The Tooch. It's a great film.
It's a classic at this point. You know,
yeah.
It's so weird. I can't remember when that came out, and now it's like forever ago.
Or mid-2000s, I think.
Yeah, early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, so people who don't know, so I have read the graphic novel.
Okay.
Actually, I read it before the movie. They've kind of stripped out the movie. The book is a little more action-packed. Like, he's known as Michael Sullivan, the guy. He's a mob hitman.
Yeah.
Right? And his stuff happens. He goes on the run with his son. I don't want to spoil it because people should watch it or read the book. But he's like the world's greatest hitman. He's the angel. He's the angel of death.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call him. And so like he does a lot of killing and a lot of like fantastic killing in the book.
Yeah.
Whereas the movie really strips that down.
Oh,
and it's really about the father and son and this bonding experience between them. And like the story's pretty much the same. It's pretty intact. But the action orientedness of it is taken out in favor of the maybe more methodical, realistic shootouts.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What a movie though. Really great. Beautiful film. Looks gorgeous.
Sam Mendes.
A little slow moving. Sam Mendes. but it's real good. Great. I do recommend the book. I can't remember who published it. Very small. Very small. You know, I'm sure there are other ones out there that I definitely know and love, but those are the ones that came
to mind.
I
wonder how many movies we forgot because kind of like I forgot that I didn't know Road to Perdition was a comic until 3 years ago, maybe.
Sure.
I wonder how many movies are out there that we think are just a movie and turn out that they're actually based on some obscure.
Well, yeah, I know, like
or something,
Valerian and the Planet of 1,000 Cities or whatever it is. Like,
which I have never heard of that property.
I think it's French again. Okay. I think it's a French graphic novel
because they keep toting it as like based on the graphic novel that changed the world, or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I've never heard of this.
Yeah,
you can't say it changed the world.
Right, I agree. I mean,
bad marketing.
I mean, especially since we're so entrenched.
Yeah.
In that world, I can be like, I don't think you're touting this as more important than it actually is.
You went to the bottom of the well, like just admit it.
I don't think it's exactly the bottom of the well, because if you ever actually take a look at some French graphic novels, some French comics, they are gorgeous.
Tintin.
Tintin is another one, a good movie.
Yeah. I never saw the movie.
The movie's good. There's more. You can tell it's an appreciated art form.
Sure.
If you go and read a French graphic novel, the time and care that is put into every single panel, every single page, it's a different than like a get the monthly out.
Yeah.
And not that time and care is not taken into those, but it's a different setup. It's opposed to like reading like a, I don't know, maybe like a mystery novel that has to get pumped out every year.
Sure.
Versus like, oh, we haven't got the new, I don't know, famous author insert here, and we haven't got the latest Cormac McCarthy in a few years because he's taking his time with it or whatever. I think it's like that kind of difference.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and it took a long time for French stuff to come over here and be translated and whatever else. So it might be super important, and we just missed it because because those books are not important here as they are in other parts of the world.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
I still don't think it's that important, though.
Probably not.
Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting. Yeah. What we should do another time is less, like non-DC, non-Marvel, less well-known graphic novels we think deserve a movie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I can think of a few off the top of my head that would be really good.
Cool.
We'll save those. But
all right. I would love to do that. But I think the people, they can find us on a lot of places.
They can find us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio, where many of you have already helped us out. So thank you so much for donating and helping to keep us loud, live, and independent, as they say, over on Cord Killers, one of my favorite podcasts. You can get these episodes of Beer with Geeks literally weeks in advance, before anyone else, at Patreon. If you are donating there. So check that out, patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. You can also find us at thoughtbubbleaudio.com, beerwithgeeks.com. Send us emails at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. Send us reviews on iTunes and all those places. Of course, you can find us anywhere podcasts are found. So tell a friend, tweet at us at Beer with Geeks, or find us on Facebook at Beer with Geeks, and interact with us there if you haven't already. And if you're not able to pledge on Patreon, then telling a friend about the podcast or leaving us an iTunes review also does a good deed for us. So thank you so much for that. Any parting words before we say goodbye, Tim?
Hail to thee, the parting glass.
Okay, well then, I guess until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's a bottle. It's glass.
Uh-huh.
The parting glass.
I am the law.